Hi, I'm Michael, and today I'm going to tell you about the dawn of scientific achievement. Well, the first thing that you should know is that it never really had a start date, but it was said to have started in the mid-1700s and end in the late 1800s. The dawn of scientific achievement was a time where practical gadgets outweighed the need for pure science. More and more people became obsessed with the idea of making everyday life easier for themselves. Basically, you can say a scientific revolution had come about. Among other contraptions, pioneering tools were developed dramatically. For example, John Deere had invented the plow, which made planting and harvesting crops much easier for farm owners. The medical field improved a tiny bit, but it was still considered primitive to America, for reasons being such as the technique of bleeding was still used to cure yellow fever and smallpox, which obviously resulted in lower life expectancy. Still, many people had been complaining about poor health, but many of their illnesses had resulted from improper diet, hurried eating, perspirating and cooling off way too easily, and of course ignorance to germs and sanitation. However, other medical items like laughing gas was used successfully for anesthetics. Just think about how easy it is now to get your tooth removed, or go through some sort of surgery since the medical field started to improve. Although this was a great time for America, their ideas did not just start to come out of nowhere. Many ideas were taken from the Europeans. Not to say that they were stolen, they just kind of rearranged what the Europeans did and kind of made it better for themselves. Now, during the early stages of the dawn of scientific achievement, many new writers came about. There were also a lot of new mathematicians. For example, take famous mathematician Nathaniel Bowditch. He gave America a lot of writings about practical navigation, which, as you guessed it, helped many people travel around the world. There was also Matthew F. Maury, who had a lot of writings about ocean and wind currents, influencing many sailors to learn about their surroundings, which also did help with the navigation of seas. Now, by far the most influential scientist of the 1800s was Benjamin Silliman. He was a chemist, a teacher, and a writer at Yale University for over 50 years. He had only written highly about the school and is said to be one of the main reasons Yale is so successful today. Now, after hearing about all these people, they all seem to have one common theme throughout their stories, and it's that they promoted safety, speed, and economy, which are considered the three main points that kick-started the dawn of scientific achievement. Some other scientists that were less recognized during this time were people like Professor Louis Agassiz. He was a French-Swiss immigrant who was a path-breaking biologist at Harvard for over 25 years. There were also people like Professor Asa Gray. He was considered Harvard's Columbus of America botany. He published over 350 books, monographs, papers, and textbooks, now considered a standard set of learning. Now there was John J. Audubon. Now, just because this is the dawn of scientific achievement doesn't mean that everyone on this list has to wear a lab coat or work in some big fancy building. John J. Audubon was actually a painter and a naturalist. He painted many wildfowl in their natural habitat, which would make sense because he was also known as a bird lover. Many Americans also contributed with architecture, the most famous architecture being windows with arches, which many of you might know today as stained glass windows. Now, Thomas Jefferson was probably one of the oldest architectures of his generation. He had brought a classic design to his Virginia home, the Monticello. There was also a struggle for art. America had lacked a wealthy class that could sit for hours while getting their portrait. Therefore, painters didn't really get paid as much. The earliest painters were forced to move to England. America had exported and imported a lot of artists. Painters had also suffered from the Puritan prejudice that art was a sinful waste of time. But paintings are known from all over today, like this painting of the signing of the Declaration of Independence, which you all have probably seen before. Painters during this time did face a little competition though, because the camera was invented, which developed into like the one I'm using right now. Again, just another way the scientific achievement has affected our world today. And music had also taken off. The tone of the music went from dark to more pop and mid-century. Basically, the dawn of scientific achievement had shaped the world we live in today. Without all these contributions and ideas, we might not have things like this that we carry around every single day. Now, after learning about all these people and what they contributed to the future of the United States, what everyday items can you think of that you or someone you know use every day to make life easier because of all these people we just talked about? Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.